Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hoping everybody is doing amazingly well today. Welcome to everybody who is brand new and just subscribed, and if this is your first time here clicking on this video, welcome. And for those of you returning, obviously welcome too. Welcome one and all. Today we are doing an energy update. We're going to do a reading for the new moon in Cancer. Make your wishes known. So for those of you who have been with me for a little while, you know that we always have a dressed candle off in the distance with some magic oil to bring in a little extra healing and abundance. But I did went a little step further this time and made a special candle and special concoction here for the new moon, for magic for the new moon. This is a time, the new moon coming in, which will be this Friday coming up. I believe it's the 9th or the 10th. For some it might be Saturday. So this will be going live Monday morning. So it's this upcoming week. And in this time there is going to be a lot of time to set your goals on fire, to figure out what it is that you want. This new moon is in Cancer. This is going to be all about you figuring out your responsibility, your emotionality, how that's going to work, and really push yourself forward one way or another. So I thought what we would do is, if anybody is interested, I'm going to offer about 30 seconds to a minute for the candle separately. Everything's going to be linked down below in the timestamps, and if you want to, you're welcome just to use the candle in that 1 minute to go ahead and make some wishes, what it is that you want to come true. And obviously, if you feel so inclined, you're welcome to put them down in the comments too. It's all about more energy, more collective is behind the energy of this new moon. We can come together and put out all this positivity and everything that you want to come to fruition at this time. So more energy together, putting it together, more energy going out there and giving you some extra support for whatever it is that you're wishing for on this new moon. So if you want to go ahead and do that, again, that will be in the timestamp. It will be under, let's see what I'm going to put it under, magic time candle gazing. So go ahead and do that if you want to, and feel free again to put what you are working on, what you're hoping to come into fruition down, I was going to say downstairs, down below in the comments, and then we can pull in that collective energy together and put that out there. So let's move on with our reading. As usual, we have 3 piles. We have the red feather, number 1. That's your first pile, pile number 1. Pile number 2 is the blue feathers, 2 blue feathers. And pile number 3 are yellow feathers, 3 yellow feathers. As always, take as much time as you need. The more aligned you are with your own intuition and your own source energy, the more these readings will make sense to you and align with whatever's going on with you and give you as much support as they possibly can. All timestamps are down below, so if you feel as though you need to go off and chill and come back and put this video, this reading on pause while you go do your thing and come back, then feel free to do that. We will be here when you get back if you put us on pause. So let's go ahead and get right into these readings. Okay. Okay, pile 1, this is your reading. If you chose the singular red, I was going to say red velvet, but I think that's a cake, which is great too. Red feather there. Then this is your energy update, new moon in Cancer. Make your wishes known reading. Yay. So let's see what we have. We have some oracle cards starting off, and then we will be moving into some tarot and other oracle as we move forward. So let's see, feeling these two first. Let's see. So you have assessing and you have pleasure. Let's show you the cards. Also, if we have enough room, bring in our magic candle here. Whether you did the magic offering before for the 30 seconds or not, we still want to have that present for you. So we have assessing is your first card, pleasure is your second card, wonderful, and adjustments are required. So what I did at the beginning of before I did this reading is to figure out or get in touch with sort of the collective energy around this new moon, and then how it will fit in with what's going on specifically for each pile. Each pile will have obviously a different take on this and will be more specific. Each pile will be specific and have different energies around it. So for you, there is some adjustments that are required, some adjustments that are needed. And it's about assessing your energy for this new moon and taking full responsibility for your emotionality. This new moon is coming in the sign of Cancer. This is the time to go inward and be very, very clear about what it is that you want and standing your ground with the universe and really stepping into this new role should you decide to take it and decide that this is your time. There's a little bit of energy around you, or there has been, in around this idea of I'm going to do this first, I'm going to get ready for this, I'm going to do this, and there's been a little bit of drifting energy. Now this energy has been wonderful because in the drifting there's a little bit of flexibility that's come in for you. Let's see if we can move these up here so you don't have it in the light there. And that's been wonderful. And in this time you've been able to sort of go backwards and forwards and renegotiate with yourself about what it is that you want to do and really work on the relationship with yourself as you move forward. But there is, a little bit of real talk here, Pile 1. There is a little bit of an inkling sometimes to want to wait sort of for the best time or a timing element. And you're being told that the time is actually now for you to step into whatever it is that you want. Now, these are general readings, so these will be very different for each and every one of you. But really, for each and every one of you, regardless of what the specifics is, it's about taking that action and saying to the universe, I'm ready, let's do this. And part of that is stepping into this role of understanding that everything that's past has completely passed, and taking responsibility for your emotionality and everything that's happened to you and everything that you've gone through. So it becomes your past and you move through it. And for you, it's about claiming your power and claiming your magic. And it's really about claiming your worth. Now, I saw something that I want to share with you, and I thought that it was really wonderful. It's what I have said many, many times on this channel, but it was said very succinctly, and this is not verbatim. This is verbatim. So these aren't my specific words. This is if you are, if you are into or know about Abraham Hicks, I think it's Abraham Hicks, I will put down, it's a channeled entity that this one particular woman channels, and I actually like it's supposedly it's a collective energy, collective entity, but it goes by Abraham Hicks. And so they were talking about, in this one rendition, they were talking about working with the universe, and I thought this really applied, and I knew it was going to apply. It may apply for every single pile, but it definitely applies to you coming into this new moon. If I am so good, and this is you speaking to the universe, and again, these are Abraham Hicks's words. If I am so good, show me. Universe, if I am so worthy, show me. You're at this point in time, Pile 1, where you're ready to work with the universe. You're ready to step in to that responsibility. You're ready to take this big step and say, I'm ready to accept all this goodness that's coming into my life. Everything that you've been through and everything that you've gone through thus far has taken you to this step. And there's just there's no more to really learn and heal. We're going to keep doing this as we move forward. We'll always be learning. We'll always be healing from something. But there's something about this new moon, should you decide to take on this energy. And again, I'm going to put the down below. I'm going to put it all down below for you to click on if you want to, just as a reminder. But you can say to the universe, if I am so good, show me. And again, universe, if I am so worthy, show me. You've done the work. So you're ready to step up to the universe, and it's not challenging the universe, it's working with the universe. But you can work with the universe in such a way where you can say, show me. Show me what my next step is. Show me this good stuff that's coming in. You can absolutely do that. See, we have to ask for help for our angels, and you can definitely ask for the universe to come in and show you physically, give you signs for you to step into. And this would be really important for you to do this week, and this will be the latter part of the week with the new moon energy coming in, because sometimes you really do need those signs moving in, and it would be wonderful for you to be able to do that and not to wait for the next junction or the next timing, making sure the timing is right, because there's always something to work on. There's always something to do. And, you know, there's been this inkling for a lot of you too recently where, you know, it's what we call the void, or coming into this sort of, it's this weird dichotomy of knowing exactly what you want, but at the same time being so unclear about how it will manifest in the world. Now, we want to be really clear about what you're going through. It's not that you don't believe that you can get it. It's not that you're like, oh, woe is me, I don't know how this is going to happen. This is pitfalls that you've fallen into before, and we all do this. It's the practical mind going, you want this, that, and the other. How is that going to happen? You know, you're here right now and you want to be there. This is crazy. That's just your practical mind talking. You know, we've all done that. But this is a little bit more. This is more like, I know I want this. I know I'm worthy of it. But with everything that's going on in the world, should I even be asking for it? There's something that's holding you back from asking for it and really being serious about stepping into it. However, you are ready to step into that, 2 feet on the ground. You're ready to work with the universe. You're ready to go in there. Before, you had a very fixed idea about what it should look like, or for some of you didn't have an idea at all about what it is that you wanted. It was either too much or too little. But you've been working on that flexibility. And it's really easy for you to work on that flexibility, because when you focus on what you think you want, after a while, when that focus comes so clearly into focus, what happens is that it focuses too much and it burns it out. So even when you focus tremendously on what you think you want, you burn it out and you're no longer interested in it. It's almost like you realize you can get it, and then you're like, actually, is that the right thing for me? And you keep focusing, burning out, focusing. It's like when you take a magnifying glass, you know, in the hot summer, and then it burns through whatever it is that you're looking at. That's what you've been doing. But what you've been working on specifically, which is absolutely wonderful, is focusing on certain things to give you an idea of what it is that you want, but then leaving it really open and being flexible and saying, you know, I'm just giving you this idea so I get a clear idea of what it is that I want. And then from then on, if it looks like that, or if we move on to something else, that's wonderful. You've been working on that flexibility. So, and that was the last sort of piece of the puzzle for you, because you can get over-focused on what you think you want. And in the past, you've asked for things that you thought you wanted, and you were very specific and you got it. And then you were like, oh no, how do I get out of this? So you know that you get exactly what it is that you put out there. A lot of you are excellent visualizers, excellent manifestors. And when you've put all your eggs in one basket and you're moving forward, you get what you want. So the one thing that you've had to figure out is how to be flexible, how to lose that without losing a sense of what it is that you want, and become too sort of flexible and dreamy, and then we'll see what happens, and then not putting any action behind it, which is, for some of you, you've gone the other way. But either way, you've gone one way, you've gone the other way. You're coming into this balance and you're ready, and you've been feeling it. And actually, for a lot of you, and this is a wonderful place to be in, so well done. You know, the idea that, you know, that you can't find or can't fathom how it will come. This excites you, actually, because before you would get, you know, well, I can't see how it'll come. It doesn't make any sense, and your mind will go in that direction. Then you'll talk yourself out of it, and then you've built some resistance to it. So you sort of shut the door in the face of this beautiful abundance that can come in. And we want to be really clear, none of this is a big deal. Anything that you want in this world, that you've put energy out there, that's in your blueprint, will come to you no matter what. It's just a matter of timing. So even though you've built up a certain amount of resistance in how you've done it, this is just a way for you to figure out how your energy works. This was all part and parcel of figuring out how you can be a better manifester. If you can break it down and figure it out, you can help other people do it. So this was all part of your learning process. And you've come in, a lot of people are coming, and you can see that this is going on too for you, with that divine masculine, the divine feminine, and coming back into sort of power, coming back into alignment. Too much action, being too focused, or being too like, oh, I'm going to wait for my intuition to kick in, but I'm going to take 3 weeks and do nothing, and then but you've come into this now, to this flexibility where you have a really clear idea of what you want. It's not going to look like that when it comes in, and you're fine. And you're excited about the prospect of not knowing how it's going to manifest. This actually excites you instead of worries you. So again, if I am so good, you've worked on that worthiness. You know that you're as ready as you can be to do this. You know that you can't be necessarily 110% ready before you go for this, because that's not how it works. And for you, you like to be motivated. For some of you, for a lot of you, you've motivated yourself through fear or through exhaustion, or in a way that's been quite heavy. So you like to do that, and you like to motivate yourself in some way. But this is probably the healthiest way to motivate. The way that you did it before was not unhealthy, because based on what you were going through and where you were at that time, that's exactly where you were, and you were working with the energy that you had available with you at that time. We couldn't possibly look back and say that that was unhealthy. You might look back on it and say, I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to do it that way. And that's up to you. That's your right. But we're not going to say it's unhealthy. But now you can use that motivator a little bit differently. Instead of using that exhaustion or using that fear, you can actually get motivated in a slightly different way, and you can use it as this sort of excitement. Instead of nervousness, use this excitement to say, I don't know how it's going to manifest. This is going to be an amazing ride. Let's see what happens. And for some of you, it's big and bold. What you've asked for is kind of big and bold, but we want to come in here and be really, really clear about this. And we've said this on this channel before. Anything that you've wanted, you've actually been planting seeds one way or another your entire life, whether you realize it or not. And most of you, you will realize it, but you won't even know how you planted the seeds and how they sprouted. Because if you're on stage, they've sprouted sort of off stage or off camera, right? But all of this is coming into fruition for you. Should you want to take on this and say, let's do this. Now, if you're sitting there going, this is not the right time for me, that's fine. Click out. Maybe go ahead and choose another pile for you. We don't want to overwhelm you in any way, shape, or form. This is just for if you feel as though if you've been feeling this excitement, you've been moving towards this. And most of you who are resonating with this, who've been feeling this, would have been going through a lot of ups and downs recently, with a lot of old stuff coming up, the confusion about a lot of stuff coming up, because very simply, a lot of old stuff has been coming up, not to be healed. You've done a lot of work on the healing, but to be fully integrated, so you can move forward. The idea is that when you move forward, starting with this new moon, you bring in a new energy. You're working with the collective instead of against it. Before, you've worked kind of against the collective sometimes with your energy. And you work outside of the box, so that's worked for you one way or another, but it's also exhausting. But this is you stepping into this power, and this is you working with the collective and moving forward. And what the universe was doing, knowing that you're ready to do this, is putting everything at you so you can integrate it before you sort of take off, because they didn't want anything to slow you down when you were in this new momentum. So if you've been feeling like you're a little bit lost in the void, very like up and down, whiplash, 1 minute you're fine, 1 minute you're not. You wake up and you can feel this 5D energy being connected to everything, and the next day you're like, oh, woe is me, I can't believe it. Vivid dreams, almost like a lot of your psyche is being dumped out in your dreams, and when you wake up, it's like, wow, what the F was that? That sort sort of thing, then it's just all of this stuff coming up for you to integrate. Again, we always say don't go down the rabbit hole. Healing happens naturally. You've done a lot of this healing. It's coming up to be integrated. And really, just for the integration process, for those of you who are still in the integration process, there's not much for you to do. Just be aware of your feelings. Don't take them on. Don't try and do anything with them. Don't go down this rabbit hole of trying to see what you need to do to heal them further. Allow them in. Sometimes the integration process is, and it sounds simple, right? And when we say it's as simple as, we understand that it's not that simple. If it were that simple, then it would be easy. Simple and easy sometimes aren't the same thing. They're not necessarily synonymous in, the spiritual world. But as your feelings come up, allow them to be. You don't give them a negative. You don't give them a positive. You acknowledge them. You can even thank them. And this is something that you can do. And that aids the integration process. That's all you need to do. The worst thing, not the worst thing, but sometimes we tend to judge them because we want to move past them, or they're uncomfortable, or we think that there's more work to be done, and we get scared because we were feeling so good, and then this stuff starts coming up and you think, oh my God, here we are again. I can't go through this again. So you work really hard at healing yourself, and all it wants to do is just be acknowledged, and in that way you integrate. So if you're still in that stage, then there's not that much work to be done. Just allow it to happen. Give it space. Don't think about it in a positive or a negative. Don't go down the loophole of how it occurred, why it occurred. It's just coming up. The process of integration is actually can be that simple if we allow it to happen. As humans, we often, we really make things hard for ourselves, and we often think that things need to be a lot harder than they need to be. That's not to say that work is an effort, and we don't have to have some divine guidance and some divine effort and movement going in there and action. Not at all. Just sit there and just expect everything to happen. But we often forget that just allowing things to be is action, and that action in itself can be enough. And that's all that's needed here. So if you're in that point where you're still up and down, all this stuff's coming up and you're like, what the F? This too shall pass, and that's all it is. Just allow it to happen, integrate it. You can even sort of give yourself some time to do some visuals about bringing in your inner child and just hugging that emotion, even if it feels ugly. Allow yourself that emotionality, especially with this new moon coming in. It's in the sign of Cancer again, so it's the emotionality. Allowing all of that emotionality, instead of welling up inside of you, allowing it to move through you would be the best thing. You'll get through this so much easier. So let's get you some tarot on this and get you some more specifics here. But this is a very exciting time if you feel ready to do this. To step in and to be completely responsible for where you are, your energy, everything that's happened, and feeling that self-worth of, I am ready for this. Because you are ready. You are ready. The universe has been watching you. You're an incredible soul that's gone through hell and back, Pile 1. We acknowledge that and we see that. You've had quite a ride. You've taken on a lot of energy, and not all of it has been yours. And you've even really willing to martyr yourself for others. Your soul is that beautiful. You have a lot of wisdom, and it's time, instead of you giving to others, it's time for you to take for yourself. And in that way, you can actually give more to others. So let's see what we have. We have the Fool starting off absolutely. 9 of Pentacles, gorgeous. And we have Death. So without a doubt, you are going through this major transformation for you. This is a major, major transformation, and the chance to step into something really bright and beautiful if you are ready. Again, these readings are not supposed to be here for you to feel overwhelmed or out of element. Somebody remarked absolutely ages ago, and I can't remember which one. I don't have time for this. I don't know what to do with this energy. I don't know what to do now. And I replied back, nothing. Do nothing. Enjoy your week. Have a beautiful week. Enjoy being you. None of this is supposed to overwhelm you in any way, shape, or form. If this is not hitting right, then please do not worry about this. You have every right to click off. This is just for people who are resonating at this time. And if you are feeling as though this is something huge that's coming in for you, and this is a shift like no other. We have these shifts throughout our lives. If you look back, you're a different person, you know, probably every year, one way or another. But this is a huge shift for you coming in. This is a chance for a brand new beginning with the Fool. But this person has been through absolutely everything, and they know what they're doing in a way. They're just flexible about how it will look when it comes back to them. They've accepted at some point, and this is where you're at, that you've accepted at some point that it will look different, and that what you've asked for in your heart has been wholly received from the universe, and you are ready to accept it. This is not a small thing for you. You've always felt as though there had to be some kind of sacrifice in order for you to arrive at your destination. And this is the first time where this real understanding in the core of who you are, in your bones, in every cell in your body, where you realize that everything that comes to you can come to you easily without the sacrifice that you believe that you needed to put forward before. And this is a wonderful place for you to be. You realize that your voice and your truth is needed, and that if you have the resources to put it further, that you could be of service in a much brighter and bigger way than you were before. And you're ready for that responsibility. You're ready to say to the universe, don't exactly know how this is going to look. I did 10 years ago, I did 5 years ago, I thought I did, but this is okay. I'm ready for the responsibility. I'm ready for it to be seen. And for a lot of you, it was about being seen. You're ready to be seen because you've accepted exactly where you are and who you are, and none of that will change based on the opinions of others, whether they know you or whether they don't. So let's get you a little bit more information here with good old Lord Ganesh, good old Lord Ganesha here. But this is an exciting week for you coming in with the new moon. And it would be great for you if you didn't already. It would be wonderful for you to go back. And again, there's timestamps down below just for you to click on to do the 30-second sort of meditation on the magic of this candle. Because this candle is set up for messages between you and your guides, between you and the world. What you say in that time and what you project upon that image of the candle at that time will be between you and your guide. So take that time if you haven't already and you feel like it's something that you want to do, and you can get clear about what it is that you want. And again, you know, the devil's in the details. You don't have to be detailed about what it is. You can just be really specific. One way of doing it is being really specific about what it is that you want from life. I saw a bio the other day and I thought, this is brilliant. You know, setting down in 4 sentences what you want to achieve, what it is that you feel like you're supposed to do in this lifetime. Getting really clear on that. I want to be a voice of truth for people who feel as though they are not good enough in this life. I want this, that, and the other. I want to bring the wisdom of spirituality without fear, without agenda. I want, you know, whatever it is, get really clear on that. And that's what you would project into the flame there. And then you say, of course, to your angels, bring this to me in the easiest, the best way for me at this time. Bring it. And you know, you can absolutely put down whatever it is that I want this to happen easily. I want this to happen effortlessly. I want this to happen without fear. I want me I want this to just, I don't want there to be any hiccups, because you know, sometimes when we get something really big, again, we expect something to go wrong or it not to go smoothly, and this can sort of, we can get what we want, but you know, we're putting out the energy for things to not go smoothly. So be very clear. I want this to come effortlessly. I'm ready for this to come effortlessly. I know that I'm worthy of an effortless movement moving forward. That sounds like a bowel movement in the morning. I'm terribly sorry about how that came out, but you know what I mean. I just sounded really nasty, but you know what I mean. Insight and blessings, absolutely. Insight and blessings. This is absolutely gorgeous here. Being really clear about your inner worth and projecting that out to the universe and stepping into this understanding that you are ready brings these blessings in such an easy moment. Now, The other thing that you tend to do, and don't you dare do this, Pile 1, is that when something comes effortlessly, you either are like, I don't want it, or I'm not sure that this is for me, or I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. Absolutely not. The trick is to ask for exactly what you want, not what you feel like you can get. So ask for exactly what you want, and when it comes in effortlessly, thank the universe. Don't keep going over it. And don't wait for the other shoe to drop. That's just not it. You're moving into this brand new beginning. And this is something, you know, we're always careful about the language and the language that we use here. And normally I wouldn't say that you're owed it, because I don't feel like anybody's owed anything necessarily. It's a sign of privilege one way or another, and it's been used in such a way. But for this example, we trust that you understand, and we know that you understand what you mean. You know, you've gone through so much in order for you to be at this point, and it's in your blueprint. You are owed what it is that you're asking for. So it's just a matter of you stepping up and saying, I'm absolutely ready. And don't be afraid to work with the universe, and to work with them in such a way that you're, like we said, universe, if I am so worthy, show me, you know. Ask them for signs, for physical signs. You don't need to do this in this real sort of, you know, woo-woo way. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll just go off into the desert and come back 30 days later and see what. No, you don't have to do that. You're not Jesus, you know, and that's okay that you're not Jesus. We already had one Jesus. We don't necessarily need another one. So, you know, you can ask for clearer guidance. You can ask for the universe to deliver it as easily and as effortlessly as possible, knowing that you deserve that outcome. Exactly the experience that you want. Ask for and be specific about that, and then carry on with this flexibility that you've worked so hard to gain. Because in some ways you can be really flexible, where you're just completely spontaneous. Let's move to this country and do that. And sometimes you're really focused on the outcome, that you're trying to control it. So this is pure alignment. You've got into this really great phase where you're just ready to see what happens, and you're excited by it. So this new moon will be your new moon, should you decide. And if you decide that this new moon is not what you want to do, this is not where you are right now, or you don't feel ready, that's fine. Remember, this comes out regardless. This is a timeless reading to a certain extent. All of the readings are really timeless, even if they are for a specific week. I do feel that if you're drawn to any of the readings, you will get something from them. But this is going to be up at the beginning of the week, and the new moon's not coming into the end of the week. So even if, and things are moving so quickly for you with your energy right now, like we said, the ups and the downs, even if you feel like at the beginning of the week, it's kind of resonating, but I don't know if I'm there yet. Stay with it. Stay with it. You don't know how you're going to feel on Friday, because that's how things are right now. And that's how things are in the collective. And that's beautiful. So the elements of fire, air, earth, and water combine to create powerful protective boundaries, spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. So you have everything working with you, all the elements, all of your guides coming together in this protective fashion as you move forward. It's almost like I keep getting this vision as an army, and this is the way that you would be seeing it, because sometimes you've seen, you know, living or life really as a sort of a battle in some ways. So, you know, it's being shown to me like this, even though you don't see, you're coming out of that idea of the world, but like all of your guides are standing with you. They're working in unison. They're walking with you as you walk into this new phase, and they're all around you. All of the elements, everything is around you. You literally cannot, you are supported in such a firm way moving forward. You literally cannot go wrong. So this is an important week for you. Keep working with those ups and downs if they're coming in. Get clear on what you want, even if it's not specific. Get clear on the specifics of what it is you're here to do. And then say to the universe, I want the highest grade to that. I want everything that's coming in for me to align with my higher self. And do not forget that if you want to ask for millions of dollars or millions of pounds, wherever it is that you are in the world, it's okay to ask for riches. You've got this 9 of Pentacles, so you're ready to ask for that now. You're ready to move into, and remind yourself that, you know, money is power in a certain way, and you can use power any way that you want. Not everybody's going to use it in the right way, but that's fine. You're not anybody. So when you use it, you're going to use it to help other people. And there's just, and if I could just shake every single spiritual person, you know, I see this all the time. Why are people charging for this? Why are people charging for this? It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I personally like to keep things pretty much free or whatever, but you know, but there's no harm in people charging for anything, because that's the way it should be. It's an energetic boost. It's an energetic exchange. So you asking for the universe to be heavily compensated for what you do just puts you in a position to be to coming from an element of thriving. You'll be able to help more people physically with the money if you have it, but also because you won't be struggling anymore. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it is my hope for the universe as we move forward that we come out of this understanding that spiritual people should not be charging, which is absolutely ridiculous. So if there's any remnants of that, forget about it. Go ask for everything you want, including the riches, because people like you should have more riches, because people like you deserve more riches, because you would do so much more with those riches than anyone else would necessarily. So if I bestow any kind of beauty and riches upon anyone, it would be you, Pile 1. So go enjoy your week. We send you a huge amount of support exactly where you are, exactly what you're going through, and so much love and light. I know that has been said so many times before, but genuinely mean it from my heart to yours. Until we meet again, stay safe and sane. Take care, Pile 1. Bye-bye. Okay, gorgeous Pile 2s. If you chose the double blue, I have to think of that word, double blue feathers, this is your reading. And of course we are doing our beautiful reading here for the new moon coming in. We are doing an energy update, new moon in Cancer, make your wishes known. So let's start off with these beautiful oracle cards, and then we'll be moving into tarot and others coming in. So we've got Purity here is your first card, and we have Acceptance. Here is your first card, second card, my bad. And then we have Conclusions are within reach. So you are ready, different energy, of course, but as we say, you know, regardless, we're always working with divine energy and collective energy. So within the reading, Pile 1, 2, and 3, there's always going to be sort of, I like to think of it as a red thread all the way through, even though the energies are very different. So it is worth picking one pile over another if you feel in that direction. But this is definitely coming into an energy of choosing. For some of you specifically, feel as though there's choosing between one thing and another, something that you thought that you want and you've grown out of, or something that is off in the horizon, but you feel as though you're ready to go get it. So there might be a choice coming in. Now, for you, Pile 2, it may not be. For some of you, it's a relationship, of moving out of relationship and something else. Something is, now it could be seen as a relationship with yourself insofar as you're moving out of a way that you've treated yourself once and for all. Or it could be a physical relationship where you're like, I think I am done with this. It could be a love relationship, or it could be either friendship. But it feels like there's some kind of crossroads coming up for you, and you will definitely choose in the right direction. Now, for some of you, it feels like you're in and around energy, and it could be coming from anywhere, like work energy, or for some of you, naughty, it could be coming in from energy of the universe insofar, not universe necessarily, but sort of the external world, where you're spending a lot of time sort of on the computer or in some kind of social media, where you're in and around energy that's sort of a little bit darker. It's like this immediate energy, this fear energy, yeah, but energy, kind of like very blindsided or very narrow. I feel this, I think this is it, this is it. And it's sort of, it's pulling you in because you want to understand it, but at the same time, you don't necessarily agree. And the universe wants you to sort of stay open, stay flexible. We want to remind you at this point, no matter what you choose in this world, no matter how you go and what you do, you are a sovereign being. You are protected. There are no rights and wrongs. You cannot go wrong in this lifetime. Everything you do is an experience. So whatever you choose will be right for you in that moment. Don't let anybody tell you that you're doing anything right or wrong. That's their perception on it. They live in duality. That's fine. We live in the 3D world. We all live in duality, right? None of us are enlightened, maybe not yet, but you know, if you're trying to get enlightened, you're trying to move toward it, good luck. It doesn't really work that way. But for you, it does feel like there's a crossroads. So however this is manifesting in your life, it feels as though there's some kind of darker energy that kind of wants to pull you in, not in a really insidious way, actually, and in a really direct way. They're very honest about what they think, what they believe, and you know, if anything, they're in your face about it. But it's a sucking in energy, and you know, if you are with us, you've got to think this way, you've got to do this, and what it is, it's keeping up the sort of the fear narrative, whatever it is. Now you might be attracted to that energy, or somebody that you're attracted to is attracted to that energy, or and you might be just really interested and be sort of on the outskirts of it, but then you get sort of pulled in. But there's some kind of remnants there of pulling back from that energy and cleansing off from that energy and pulling yourself back from that crossroads. If you've gotten to the point where you're too much immersed in that energy. Now it could be like literal energy, physical energy around you that's, you know, work or people or something that's, and I don't want to say the word toxic because it really isn't. It feels more like, if you've got toxic, it's up here. It feels more like icky and it's down here. But if you keep putting yourself in and around that energy, it could become a little bit of a problem with you anyway, but later on down the road. But this is the time for you, coming into this new moon, for you to really put your foot down and decide what it is that you want. Now, for some of you, and this is a wonderful trait, and we're not asking you to change it in any way, shape, or form, is that you're so open and you're so wonderful, but sometimes you're so open, you allow in so much energy that comes in and sort of whooshes over you, and it's very confusing. And some of that energy that you've let in, you don't want to ruminate within your soul. You just don't. It's wonderful to give everybody their own space and let them have their, you know, not let them, who are we to say that, you know, give people space to be who they are and have their own opinions, absolutely. But you know, you're at the point where you're so open and you have such a beautiful heart. You take everything in, and because when you know you're really motivated by passion, if somebody is really passionate about something, and it could be Satan worshipping, really, honestly, something absolutely out of the realm that you would never do, you just don't agree with it, but they're so passionate about it, you will sit there and you will really listen and try to understand and take in all of that stuff, and then have that energy in and around you, you know. And even when you come around, you know, you'll try to look for the best in that person, go, well, actually, you know, this could work, and you know, and the universe will be shaking you, going, oh my goodness, what are you doing? So it's wonderful that you're open. We don't want you to lose that. And I'm just using that as a very specific example. And I want to be really clear here, just because I brought it up, nobody else did. Satan worshipping is very different to Satanists. I've met a lot of Satanists, and they're actually the most grounded, politically active, beautiful people that I've ever met. And I have a lot of respect for them, but they don't worship Satan. They never would. It's nothing like that. The Church of Satan is nothing like that. If you're interested, check them out. Not advocating for them, but there's a really big difference between worshiping sort of an entity that doesn't exist and go on whatever that entails for them, which could be a little iffy, right? And something else completely different. But regardless, we use that as a very specific example, so I just wanted to be clear. But you let in absolutely all of this information, and while we want you to stay open, as we said before, we want you to be really discerning from now on in. It's time for you to be discerning, because you've never really protected yourself in the way that you deserved protecting. A lot of you were not protected the way that you should have been when you were younger. Now, we're not, you know, pointing any fingers or laying any blame. You know, everybody who was around you did whatever they could, the best that they could, and for some of them maybe they didn't. But again, we're not here to bring up stuff from the past, but you weren't, or you didn't feel as though that you were seen or protected the way that you should have been. So you've gone through life without really protecting yourself. Now, in some ways, that's afforded you these really interesting kind of experiences, which is actually quite wonderful one way or another, and some dark stuff too, but you've come out of it and you've worked with that. But we're asking you to protect your energy. We're asking you to step up and know that you're worthy of protection. And from heartfelt, from, you know, my guides to yours, desperately sorry that you never had that protection growing up, because it's difficult to bring that back into your life when you didn't have it, because you don't know what it looked like. You've got nothing to model it on. So you've done an incredible job of trying to stay open. And at the same time, you know, you wanted to give everybody a fair shot, even if they were a little bit lula, a little bit out of it, or this, that, and the other. Everybody has something to say, and totally on a personal level, absolutely agree with that. But it doesn't mean that you need to bring that energy into your space. So something's happening for you in this crossroads of this week coming in, culminating in the new moon, which is really exciting and very powerful for you, Pal 2. Is that your conclusions are within reach, and it's up for you to grab them, right? And it's about harmony and balance for you. And it's about learning to protect yourself, and not to the way that you armor up. And then, you know, you're armoring up so you feel as though you need to be protected all the time. Then you're not allowing in that space for that good stuff, for the abundance to come in. We're not saying that. And we're not trying to make you alarmed in any way or whatsoever. We just want you to know that you're at the point that you know who you are, and you love yourself enough to have those boundaries. Now, you've been working on the boundaries, but to have those boundaries in place so you can be really clear about the energy that comes in and around you. And for you, it's really, really important because the acceptance of how sensitive you are has become vitally important, especially in the last year, 2020. Now, you knew it before. You absolutely knew it. None of this would have been a surprise. But you absolutely are a very highly sensitive person, and you work off of energy, and it's really good for you to put your energy first and know when it's time to bail out, when it's time to protect yourself, and when it's time to get out there. And this is something that's going to be a new magical way of you working in the world, instead of constantly putting yourself into these situations. And yeah, absolutely, having a ball, having everybody in and around you, but not having any of those sort of boosts or those barriers between you a little bit, you know, no filters. So we're just asking for you to really step into this understanding that filters are available for you now, and you're ready to do them. And the filters are in place for you to learn how to say, no, I don't want to be around this energy. No, I'm not taking this in. I can respect that somebody else has a different opinion, and that's absolutely wonderful, but I'm going to keep that opinion over there. It just doesn't make any sense to me, and that's okay. And we're going to say something to you that may feel a little bit weird, but we're going to say it anyway. Everybody has the right, that's not the part, drum roll, it'll be coming in. Everybody has the right for their own opinion. Everybody has the right for their own truth, without a shadow of a doubt. But for the sake of being clear, for the sake of clarity in this reading, not everybody has a clue about what they're talking about. They just don't. And you let in all of this information without any filter, and it overwhelms you, and it doesn't bring you to your power, because it weakens you a little bit, and then you start doubting yourself, and then you start saying, well, you know, this power that I have, that because I'm so sensitive, it's going against me, and it doesn't need to. This is the week. This new moon comes in for you to be able to bring that power and really be able to see yourself as a superhero with your powers as superpowers. But you need to learn to put that filter on, and that filter does need to be there for protection. And you don't need to take in everybody else's opinions. Some of them are a little bit batshit right now. Some opinions out there are just a little bit off. And that's okay. You can still respect that people have them. You don't need to bring them in at all. And not every single opinion needs to come in to your circumstance, to your life, for you to for you to go through and try to find the gems in it. You don't need to do that. You can respect people and let them find their own bloody gems, to be perfectly honest. So this is the week that you step into your own power. You learn to filter. While you filter, your energy is going to be a little bit different, instead of being all over the place. And you start to come back into that power in a really practical, beautiful way. And in doing that, you have a lot more beauty. You really start to respect your gifts of sensitivity, which are absolutely gorgeous, but you're using them in a way that's depleting your energy, and you can doubt yourself, this, that, and the other. So your power comes in from, ironically enough, from cutting some energy out. which is, you know, you're all about energy. But this is how you differentiate between where somebody else begins and you end, because you're so open. You take in that energy and it stays with you. Let's get you some more cards here for but this is, yeah, I mean, that popped out of the deck, but I'm not absolutely convinced that that one was for you. This is a very exciting week, and this is not a small thing, and this is not a passive week for you in any way, shape, or form, and this is a long time coming. You've been working in incremental measures to figure out your energy, figure out how it works, to figure out your self-worth, to figure out your relationship to your superpowers, or whether you feel as though you have superpowers. But this is a beautiful week for you to stand your ground and to be in full acceptance of the beauty that you have. And it's an incredible gift that you have, and you've been using it in such an incredible way, but the way you've been using it has just been, it's been a little exhausting, and it's taken its toll, and it's just not needed anymore. So, okay, so you've got the Tower. No need to panic. The Tower, and then everything is fine, absolutely. So that's it. You've got a lot of sword energy here. And this is what we're saying with the energy that we were talking about, and allowing in all of that energy and then having it affect you in ways that seem insidious, because it's not as obvious when you let in the floodgates and all of this energy comes in, and then you move away from the energy and you think the energy's gone, and it's still there. A lot of it is still sort of roaming around you, but at the same time, what it is, it's sort of blindfolding you and making you feel in ways that just isn't there. And we'll give you a very specific example. Say you're talking to somebody, and what they're talking about, and they're really full on, they're really focused on this one thing, and they're absolutely convinced it's going to happen. And whether that's true or not, whether it's going to happen or not, the energy around this person is complete insecurity. They're feeling insecure. They're feeling out of their own element. They're feeling out of their own power. They're really, really terrified and afraid. And what they've done is they've narrowed the world so they can control it. And when they can control it, this is right, this is wrong, and this is what we're doing. Now, it's a perfectly human thing to do, and it's a trauma response, and we're still in this trauma response. We've been through hell and back in the last 15 months, so everybody's gone through some kind of trauma response. So, you know, not in any way hating on the person that's doing this, but you're allowing this energy that's coming in, you're listening to them, and what they're physically saying doesn't make much sense, but you want to give them, you know, the benefit of the doubt, which is totally wonderful. And then you move away from that energy, and you're like, all right, well, that energy's done. But here's the thing. All of that fear and all of that insecurity, which is the motivator for all of this speech that's coming out of this person's mouth, comes into your energy. It melds with your energy. It makes a little home there. Now, it's not your energy. It never was your energy, but you've been open to it, and it's coming. Now it's melding with you. Now you wake up the next day and you feel a little off. You feel a little dark. You feel a little panicky even. You feel a little insecure. You feel this, you feel that. It doesn't necessarily feel like you, and you wonder where it comes from, but it is you, because you're feeling it. And as you're feeling it, because you have such deep emotions, you're saying, these must be my emotions. Oh my, what am I doing? Where am I going? And then it comes into this this molehill, and it, does that sound familiar? So that's the reason why we want you to have that filter, right? That's the reason why we want you to have that filter. And now you can definitely, we're not asking you to lock yourself up in a room or a cabin and never speak to anybody again. Not at all. There's ways that you can do that, but you can walk away from anything. But you can, when you're speaking to somebody and you're in a position where you have to be in and around this person or people that are coming up and saying things that are ladled with fear, this, that, and the other, you can actually say to yourself, once you're aware of it, I'm not going to take on any of the fear. I'm not going to take on any of the emotions that this person has. I'll listen to what they have to say and I'll walk away from it. You can absolutely do that. But we also want you to know that you're in a position at any time to say, this is wonderful. I understand where you're coming from. I have a lot of compassion. I've taken what you've said to heart. I absolutely do. It's not for me, and I'm out. Peace out. thanks a million. We also want you to be able to do that. So this is coming for you today. This is coming for you this week, this idea, going through this crossroads. And this is a really, really huge thing for you to do, because you're going to gain your power. You're going to gain your understanding of who you are. You're going to feel a lot lighter. You're going to feel real, real clear. And you're going to have a new intimacy with your own intuition, because that's the thing. Because when all this energy is coming in and you're doubting yourself, oh, now this is part of my energy and I'm feeling a little bit funky. What's going on with me? You're thinking it's you, and then you're not able to trust your intuition. And that's what happens when you flood in the fear, and it stems from insecurity, and a lot of things are going on. We're working from a trauma response. When you're working from a trauma response, it's very difficult to really listen to your intuition and have that, because the ego steps in and it's trying to protect you. It's kind of taking over, right? So we can veer off in all sorts of different directions that just, isn't in sort of, not to be woo-woo, but isn't in the direction of love. It's more in the direction of fear. So it's understandable when you're laden with all of these energies, whether they've come from you initially or not, that you're a little bit not secured. You're a little bit deflated, and it puts a little bit of a distance between you and your beautiful intuition. So you're going to have a new relationship with your intuition. You're going to feel a lot more grounded in your power, and you're going to appreciate your beautiful energy and your deep, deep powers of wisdom, which comes from your emotionality, once you figure out where your emotionality starts and somebody else's begins. So let's get you some Ganesha. So we don't want you to focus on the tower, and we want you to focus on everything is fine here, because this is all old stuff. This is stuff that we've already discussed, and you already know that you're ready to move forward. And you also know what all of this feels like. You also know what all of this, the depictions in each one of these tarot cards, feels like. So we just don't need to go over it. It's fine. That's the old you. You're moving into the new you, which is not true, because it's not old and new at all, but it's not even a more powerful you, because there's a lot of power that goes into understanding from the inside out what motivates people, what you've done, and how open you've been. It's taken a lot of courage and power, so we don't want to take away that from you in any way, shape, or form. But this is definitely a new beginning for you, should you want to take it. So we've got revelation, absolutely, and empowerment. So your revelation here, and this is something that you've been working on incrementally. So if you are in line with this reading and it's resonating with you, none of this is brand new. You're like, yeah, I know, absolutely. But the revelation for you is the fact that you thought you were a little emotional, you were a little up and down, when all the time it was kind of other people's energy in and out that. And we want to be really clear, for some of you, you've got that martyr energy you've taken on. We want to put the purity card up here. You've taken on that energy to transmute it for other people, because you're also a very powerful alchemist. And while that's been absolutely wonderful, you were doing this work without being fully grounded into your own power yet. So, it's wonderful that you did it, but we want you to ground into your own power before you go back and do that again. So some of this energy that you took on to transform it anyway, you willingly did, whether you realize you were doing it or not subconsciously. You were able to do it from past lives. You did it quite frequently here. So that's another thing. So sometimes you voluntarily picked up on that energy to transmute it. And some of that dark energy that you pulled in could have been really, really dark, but you're able to transmute it. Again, this is energy that you will be doing. This is work that you will be doing for your entire life. It's in your blueprint. It's in your Akasha records. We know this. We just want you to put yourself first, get your energy sorted first before you go back and do that again. So this is your revelation. I'm first. I'm doing this first. It may seem selfish at first, but it doesn't matter. You've got to put yourself first. The revelation is, I'm not taking on anybody else's energy until I firmly align with my own power and get back into my intuition again. And that's where you get your empowerment, your beautiful empowerment. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. She is very vocal. So this is your empowerment coming into it. Again, this is a long time coming. You've been working incrementally with boundaries and this, that, and the other, whether the boundaries, you were put in positions where you had to put those boundaries down, or whether you just reached the end of your tether and you're like, I'm done. Regardless of how you came to the boundary issue in your life, you've been working with boundaries. You've been figuring this all out. This is not something that, out of nowhere what am I supposed to do with this? I've only got a week to do this. This is incremental, but you're ready to put that down. You also have that self-worth of like, I want to protect myself. I want to do this. And again, we want to be clear. The protection is not like I need to be a hermit in the world, and not at all. This is just you putting energy down and saying, I'm putting myself first. I'm putting my energy first. I know that I'm worth this. I'm going to protect myself. I don't need to be this open. You know, when we work with chakras too, when you go out in the world, when you're this sensitive, and this is something that you might want to do, you can ask Archangel Michael. You can do this manually, but I don't always know how my chakras are working. I just, you know, I'm pretty in tune with myself, but still, you know, you can always say to Archangel Michael, I'm going out in the world, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I don't know what the energy is going to be there. Feel free to go through my chakras and close and open them at will to what I need to enjoy myself out there, but be protected and not feel overwhelmed, be grounded in my own energy. And they will. They'll go through, because sometimes your chakras are wide open and they don't need to be. And sometimes they're too closed, you're not letting in any energy. So, you know, I call in Archangel Michael and I give him permission to go in and regulate as they see fit, because they know about the energy that I'm going into, and I don't always. So that's something that you can do a day to day, so you can really work on how open and closed your chakras are too. Obviously, if they're too closed, you're not letting in any sunlight, any energy at all. And obviously, if they're too open, then you're all over the place. So that's something practical that we can give you should you decide to do that this week too. And just see how it works for you. You know, I've been in situations where I've been in really stressful situations, and I've been like, Archangel Michael, let's do this. And, you know, it's taken a couple of minutes. Within 5 minutes, I'm regulated. It's like, I know the energy has changed. I know that my angels are working with me, because I've gone from 0 to, you know, or I've gone from 100 to like 10, you know, from really, really anxious, feeling completely out of my body, out of alignment, to being like, oh, I've got this. You know, that doesn't happen that quickly. You know, obviously you have help. You have very, very powerful guides, because you're very powerful and you're doing very powerful work in this world. Call on them this week to help you motivate that as you go to the crossroads, which is, you know, whatever you choose, again, will be up to you. But we want you to choose the road that's paved with you. We want you to choose you this week at the crossroads. That's what we want for you. We want you to put yourself first. But whatever you need to do, you need to do. Dragonfly, you bring light to the world. You absolutely do bring light to the world. We want you to be in a position to be bringing light to your own life, and be able to bring more light to the world once you are grounded in your own power and putting your energy first. So have yourself a beautiful week, pile 2. Have yourself a gorgeous week coming in. And we support you exactly where you are. And we are sending you love and light. I know I said this in pile 1 that, you know, that's a little bit woo-woo, but we genuinely mean it. We are sending you love and light. We are sending you so much support where you are. Incredibly proud what you've done and who you are. And these are just messages to support you in a way that you can be even more light in this world. So you stay safe and sane. Have a beautiful week, pile 2. Until we meet again. Bye-bye. Okay, pile 3, this is your message. So your reading this week, you are getting an energy update. New moon in Cancer, make your wishes known. So if you chose the 3 beautiful yellow feathers, this is your reading. We're going to start off here with your oracle cards, and then we will move into tarot and other things that we need. So you've got attraction. Oh, let's see, without burning the card. And you have boundaries. Beautiful. And then you have new moon in Sagittarius. Luck is on your side. So you have a new moon card here. So we always say with these readings, they are always collective readings. So even though each pile has different energies, so I'm excited for you to choose each pile, because there are different energies in there. There usually is a red thread between all of them, and there's usually some kind of energy that culminates in each and every one of them. So you do have something in common with pile 1 and pile 2, and that is boundaries and asserting your boundaries in such a way. For some of you, you feel as though when you've asserted boundaries, you feel like you're evil, or it feels wrong. It feels bad. So it's been a journey for you to have these boundaries, and it feels as though when you've stepped into those boundaries and you've put them down, you've really been forced to put them down. It's after people have really driven you to that point. Now let's be very clear, Pile 3. Once they've driven you to that point, you don't come back. It's not that you don't forgive. If circumstances prevail and people change and you're the first person to say, okay, let's do this again. But once people have pushed you over the edge, you're no pushover, you're done. But it really, really takes you a long, long time for you to get to that point. And this is for you to step into your power in a very specific way this week, coming in and culminating into the full moon at the end of the week, which will be Friday and Saturday. And this is about you. Again, you've got something in common very much with the energy of Pile 2. If you feel as though you want to head back into Pile 2 and check that out, always use your intuition. It might give you a little bit extra information. But this is really about you putting yourself first, just like Pile 2, and for you to understand your own power. And the way in which for you to understand your own power is to actually put yourself first. Now, for some of you, it'll feel selfish. And there's various different reasons why that will feel selfish, why you didn't put yourself first in many situations. You've often attracted people that were very needy. And they've taken energy from you one way or another throughout your life. And you've also attracted people that really didn't know themselves very well, or really didn't want to do the work on themselves. They had sort of hit a plateau, and that's where they were, and they weren't really about looking within. Now, we say in spirituality, and there's many different problems with this, which we're not going to go into in this reading, but we say that whatever we attract is a mirror. It's what we need to work on, and it is in essence a lot more nuanced than that. So we can't just say that that's exactly what's going on. We can say that everything that comes into our awareness, or comes into our vicinity one way or another, is resonating at the same frequency that we're on. But it doesn't, and we can always learn from every single situation that we put ourselves in. And this is a truism, and I think most people would understand that. But really, at the end of the day, what you're doing is that regardless of whether you've brought in this frequency or wherever that is, and here, there, and everywhere, you've always been the sort of person that's want to do the interior work. And yet you've constantly, before in your life, attracted people who didn't really want to do the interior work. And, were actually dead set against it. Were dead set on really focusing on the external as a way to sort of blame others, or this happened to me, not with absolutely everyone or all the energy that was in and around you, but you may have been around a lot of victim type mentalities. And I want to be very clear here, the victim mentality, some people have been through hell and back, and they get to claim that because there is a relationship with it. You have to have the victim mentality to have that relationship, to realize what it is that you went through. You were a victim of something, but it's people who remain in that, and people use their victim mentality in such a way. People use the victim mentality when they're not really victims, and they stay in it. There's different levels to it, but for people who have genuinely been through things, we're certainly not suggesting that, get over it, it's all good. No, it's not. That's not what we're saying. But regardless of the victim mentality, the people that you attracted in and around you stayed in the victim mentality instead of doing the work of pulling themselves out. And that, after a while, does become dangerous. It also becomes, dangerous is, maybe a dangerous word to say, but it becomes sort of this loop effect where you just can't get out of it. And the loop effect can be dangerous because you're always looking to the external. You've given away your power. The external's controlling you. This is going on. This is going on. And this is energy that you've been in and around. So this is energy that you're saying no to, and you're attracting a new frequency now when you realize this is something that you've been working with boundaries, but this is something that you've not had in common with these folks necessarily, because you've always done the interior work, maybe overdone the interior work, but you've done the interior work so much that you got caught up in the interior work. But you've done it, and you've done that deep, hard, really icky stuff. You know, you've been in that void, you've gone down that rabbit hole, you know, you've been Alice in Wonderland wondering, is this reality? What the hell is going on? What have I signed up for? You've done all that icky work. And this is a really important time for you to sort of come out of this and be able to see yourself in this daylight, in this beautiful daylight that you have with this sort of newfound understanding of self, and be able to really feel like the sun on your skin sort of for the first time without your past intervening. And we want to remind you that regardless of everything that you've been through, now a lot of you have been through hell and back. We said this in Pile 1 too. And everybody has various different degrees of how they view the world. You know, if you put 10 people in a room and you give them the same circumstance, everybody will react differently. Some people will think this is terrible. Some people think this is not so great, but I can handle it. And some people will be, that's nothing, you know. But for you, we want to say that when we say that you've been through hell and back, you really have. You really have. I mean, objectively, from all points of life, all of the 10 people in that room would be like, yes, this person's been through hell and back. You've seen a lot of stuff. Now, you've seen a lot of stuff. You've experienced a lot of stuff. And in that way, you have a lot of empathy for other people. So we want to be really clear. There's been this sort of this vision of you going, why? Why have I been through? Why have I done all this? Why have I seen this much? Why me? Kind of thing. And this by no means answers your question 100%. And we're certainly not saying this in any way, shape, or form for you to get the impression under any circumstances that you deserved any of this or that you wanted any of this. Not at all. But these circumstances did exist for you to put yourself in alignment with these circumstances so you could go through absolutely everything. So you know what it's like to lose everything. And it doesn't mean physicality like, you know, to lose on a practical level or on a materialistic level, but you know what it's like to sort of lose your mind, to lose all sense of yourself. You know what it's like to be destroyed and pull yourself up like the phoenix from the ashes. Now, having this unique, beautiful sensibility means that you can apply it to all walks of life from all different kinds of people, which is why a lot of different people were attracted to your energy. And this is what you're here to do. Part of your blueprint, part of your speciality, part of your beauty is in the specifics of you being of service in this world, is to be able to look at somebody and show them their worth no matter what they have been through. And that is a very rare thing to do in this world, because what we're seeing in the world right now, and we're moving through this, it's, you know, there's lots of different ways to handle it, but a lot of people are very, very stuck in this understanding that they want to see the world and they want to see people through their own lens. So they're not allowing everybody to have their own experience. They're filtering other people's experience through their own experience. And of course we cannot do that. Or it doesn't do anything to do that, because we're not really listening to each other. We're not really accepting other people and what they've been through. It all has to align with what we've been through. And I don't agree with that. And that's not how it was for me. I wouldn't have done it that way. Well, of course you wouldn't have done it that way. We're all different. You know, it doesn't have to align with exactly your thoughts to be accepted by other people. But you're here to do the opposite. You're here to look at people and look them dead in their eye and dead in their souls and be able to show them how beautiful they are, no matter what they've been through, no matter what they've done. And this is something very rare. It's sort of godlike in a way. It's at the purest form of being part of the universe. And of course, we're all part of the universe. And I want to be very clear. We're all capable of this. We're all capable of this. And by you being able to do this in the world and integrating into the world and having that energy around you, being able to do this, then other people will be brought into that energy and will be able to do this too. Now, even though you've been through hell and back pile 3, you've got extremely powerful guardian angels, whether you've realized it or not. But one way that we can prove that you've had really, really powerful guardian angels is no matter what you've done, you've landed on your feet. Even in situations where it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm in a real shit heap right now. What the hell? Something's happened. Something's moved for you. You know, you may, when you look over your life, you may not look back on and say, I was really abundant. I did this, I did that, and I had $3 million in my account or anything like that. But you can always say, I had enough. I landed on my feet. I was protected. When things could have gone really bad, something happened and intervened. I got what I wanted. I did this, that, and the other. I've always been okay. So you know that you've always been okay. Your guardian angels have protected you from the very beginning in such a tangible way, because the work that you're doing is extremely important in this lifetime. Again, we don't want to, say that whatever's happened to you was justified and you needed to do it or anything like that. But those experiences did bring you to being able to do the work that you do. You would not have been able to do them, however, had you have not put yourself into these situations where these things happen to you. And also, they've been working to heal you from that stuff so it doesn't happen again. However, this week, Pile 3, there's a turning point for you, and it's been a long time coming. And again, you have this in common with both Pile 1 and Pile 2, and it's in the collective. I don't know if you can feel it. It's in the collective. Something big's happening. It's moving in. A lot of people are in the void stage too. A lot of ups and downs, things coming up. We talked about this in Pile 1. Things coming up seemingly from nowhere, things that you thought that you've dealt with. And if you a lot of high and lows being really connected one day or 1 minute, and then really low the next minute or the next day, vivid dreams where it feels like all of your interior, everything you've been through is being thrown at you in your dreams, or things are coming up. It's coming up just for you you don't have to heal them. You've already done the work, just to integrate them. And for you, the emotionality of just allowing it to be. You don't need to put a yes or a no. You don't need to worry about all of these energies or all of these. They're beautiful in a way, even though some of them can be very hard to deal with, all of these emotions and things that are coming up. They're just looking for you to accept them, bring them in and integrate them. There's nothing more, to give them space. That's all you need to do. So if this has been coming up for you, hopefully we can help you with that. And this always comes up in a time of great need before you move on to something big, because the universe doesn't want you to trip up as you move forward. So all this stuff comes up. Sometimes it looks like obstacles, these big obstacles, when things are about to come into fruition. And it sounds counterproductive, right? I've asked for this thing. I'm feeling really excited. I feel like I'm worthy. It's coming in. And all of a sudden, one of a better term, shitstorm happens, right? And you're like, are you kidding me? I thought we were past this. What the hell's happening? And then you start doubting yourself, and, and this is all happening. And, am I going backwards? You start to doubt yourself. No, the universe is throwing this stuff at you so you can integrate it, accept it, move forward. There's no tripping up when you get what you've asked for. So this is what's coming in for you. So if any of this has been coming up, just give it space and accept it. You don't need to label it as good or bad. Certainly don't go down the rabbit hole of thinking that you need to go through this and work through it. To accept it will put you into the integration mode, and then you'll move through it a lot quicker. So it's really just coming up for it to be acknowledged, not to be healed. You've already done that work. So if that's coming up for you, that's another sign that you're coming into this sort of, and I always hesitate with these new beginnings, because I feel as though every day is a new beginning. So it's kind of a weird thing to say. It sounds a little woo-woo. Oh, you're coming into this new beginning, new beginning. Every week is a new beginning. It is kind of a new beginning. So we don't want to call it a new beginning. This is a new stance. This is a new frequency. This is a new way forward. You've got the King of Wands here. Beautiful. You've got the Ace of Wands. Look at all that passionate energy coming in, lovely. And the Four of Cups. So we want to remind you here of not to doubt yourself. We want to remind you that, again, if you've had any doubts about all of the stuff that's coming up, this too shall pass. It's coming up not to drive you insane, believe it or not, and not for you to doubt yourself in any way. It's coming for you as a gift. So if you've got all these ups and downs that are coming in, we want you to focus on the Ace of Wands and the King of Wands. There is some action coming in. There is a movement coming in. There's this passionate energy that you have to move forward and take your life to the next level. And that's coming in. This is just a moment in passing. And the universe is handing you this because they want you to go through it now. Because when you move past it, they want things to be easy peasy for you. So if you're going through what we call the void, or you're feeling sort of foggy, you're feeling, you're feeling great and then you're not, and then, or you're at very least you're feeling confused with everything that's going on. Remember, don't assign any good or bad, any polarities to anything. Just allow things, give them space, integrate them, and know that the passion that you have and the beauty that you have is coming together as you come into like securing your power this week. You've been incrementally moving into this really since 2021. Since the beginning of this year, there's been a real calculated effort on your part to say, this is going to be my year. I know what I'm doing. 2020 was a bit of a haze for everybody. Everything came up for you in a different way, where it did feel as though you were being overwhelmed. Everything was coming up. And you worked through a lot of stuff in 2020 in a way you probably broke and came together, like, maybe even 7 or 8 times last year. But this is the year that you're going to take all of the wisdom that you went through in the last year and actually acclimate and really integrate it and acclimate yourself into this life in a completely different way, where your energy and your passion is front and center. It feels as though for a lot of you, you have self-confidence, and you have this sort of quiet maturity, this absolutely gorgeousness about you. And some people have seen that as a weakness, so they've sort of budged you out the way and then they've taken center stage. And the funny thing is that you have this sort of mysterious, gorgeous quality about you. So even though people have done that, other people will still seek you out and want to know what you have to say. You don't really have to say anything to really make an impression. But you've always been sort of around people who have been energy pushing or not really understood you or railroaded you. And they've mistaken this sort of quiet knowledge, beautiful energy that you have for some sort of weakness or even neediness, which is absolutely the opposite. And it really speaks more about them than it does of you. But here's the thing. You're coming into this energy of complete passion where you're ready to put yourself forward. Now, you're never going to railroad anybody like anybody else has done to you, and that's fine. Everybody else, free will zone, earth, do whatever you want to do. But you're not going to be able, you're not doing that. You're not here to do that. You're very conscious of other people's energies, and you have that deliberate beauty about you, and that's what you're here to do, to see that everybody sees that in themselves. But it's good for you to put your energy first. It's good for you to put your passions first. It's good for you to put what you want, not on the back burner anymore, but forward. And it's good for you sometimes. It's good for you to put people in their place. Excuse me, I was here first. Excuse me, I'm still talking. That's something that you wouldn't have necessarily have done. You sort of go back in the background, but again, people would have sought you out. This is you putting your energy first. Sometimes it's good to do that. Sometimes, it really isn't. And sometimes, but your intuition, and when you step up and when you say things, you say things with power, with integrity, and people listen. So this is the year that you've been working towards putting yourself first, and not in a selfish way, in an absolutely beautiful way. And when this passion comes in and sort of runs through you, by you putting yourself first in the same way that we talked about in Pal 2, you can do much more good in that way. So it's important for you to put yourself first. So you're choosing yourself first this week. This is something that, this is a long time coming, but this is the week with this new moon coming in, with this energy of this new moon, where you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm ready. I'm absolutely ready. I can move in. And this excitement is coming in of what the future can hold. Let's get you some energy from Ganesh, from Lord Ganesha here. So, and we want to be clear, you were never a pushover. It's just that you've always had this understanding that people, I love this about you too. It's, you have this energy of, let people speak, they'll hang themselves. You don't need to outline anybody. You don't need to, you'll listen to gossip, but you're not much of a gossip, because people show themselves up for who they are really quickly. And when people tell you things, you listen for the stuff that they're not telling you, because you really clued into energy and you really get it. So there's no reason for you to put people in their place, because normally people will do that for themselves anyway. But sometimes it is time for you to step up and put your energy out there. To do that sometimes when it is necessary. And this is something that, that you'll be doing more of, and putting your energy first, which is an absolutely gorgeous thing for you to be able to do. And it's time for you to do it. So we have understanding. We talked about this 13:2. And look at that eyes. Didn't we talk about this earlier? I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Talked about looking into somebody's eyes, looking into their soul, and having that understanding of what they've been through, and having that acceptance for them. Particularly people who have been on the outs or down and out, or people who've lost so much self-confidence and self-worth in themselves, you'll be there. You'll be able to see that. For you, you're the sort of person that will sit next to somebody who's down and out, maybe at the bus stop, and they'll tell you their life story, that sort of thing. But you'll listen to them with acceptance and beauty, and you really listen to people. So we said that's you coming into full-blown this beauty that you have this week while putting your energy first. And blessings, absolutely. You are a blessing to the world. You're an absolute blessing to the world. And again, that's why you've been sorted. That's why you've been supported in such a way, because you're an absolute blessing. This week is a way for you to step into those blessings even one step further and put yourself further out into the world with this passionate beauty that you've got coming in, this immense power and this action of opportunities coming in for you to stand your ground and be the person that you have always been. But you tend to keep the beauty of who you truly are a little bit to yourself. Again, it's almost like you've tested people. The right people will come find me. That's absolutely understandable, and that's absolutely beautiful, and that's absolutely true. The right people will come and find you. But this is about you putting your energy out there and saying, "Fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to put myself out there too," and having both of them come in. So as before, you've waited for the right situation to come to you. Now you're going to go out there, put yourself there, and attract that situation for yourself. So this is not a passive week for you. This is a wonderful week, new moon coming in for you. As a reminder, and I forgot to say this with Pile 1 and Pile 2, the last reading that I put up, which is only 2 days old, it's How Does Source See You? These readings that come in are only a couple days apart, so they're working with the same collective energy, the energy of the week. So if you are listening to this and you want a little extra vavum, a little extra information, a little extra support, and you have not checked that out, I will be putting that reading down below. In the timestamps, I will be putting that down below. So feel free to check that out too, because it's so close with the energy that's going on with the collective. So that could be extra information and support for you also. And also why it's just a wonderful thing to be able to see yourself from source, from the eyes of source. So I do encourage you to go ahead and seek out that reading if you haven't already. And even if you had, see if your intuition tells you to pick another pile. It might be something else. Now that you've had this reading, to go back and check out that reading too. Again, always listen to your intuition, and if it pulls you in that direction, go for it. Dragonfly. Now, my goodness, was that you bring light to this world? I'm really thinking now. We pulled this. I'm thinking this is pile 2. I think we pulled this for pile 2. Also, we pulled something else for pile 1. Yes, this is pile 2. You both got this. This is absolutely brilliant. You do have very similar energies. Again, if you're thinking about extra information, you might want to go again, listen to your intuition. If it guides you there, go for it. You might want to check out pile 2. And this is definitely an indication that you can get something from pile 2 too, because this is exactly what they got. That beautiful dragonfly. You bring light to the world. You do. And really just want to show you these two, this understanding you bring light to the world. I mean, what you do for this world and who you are, it's gracious beyond. It's gorgeous, gorgeous light that you bring to this world. So putting yourself first will put you in line to do even more gorgeous work in this lifetime. So go ahead and have that beautiful week and use that beautiful energy of the new moon coming into your own advantage, pile 3, and check out the other reading and maybe pile 2 if you feel called to also. We are sending so much support to you at this moment exactly as you are, and we're also sending love and light to you as I sit with pile 1 and pile 2. I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but genuinely from my heart, genuinely sending you love and light. And until we meet again, you stay safe and sane, pile 3. Bye-bye.